You know what makes the Clarence Thomas thing so bad? Clarence Thomas not only voted to get rid of birthright citizenship, right? Not only did he do that, he wrote a 91 page dissent letter, all right? Because he was that mad. This Coonarian was so mad that he couldn't push along white supremacist, ethno-nationalist policies that he wrote a 91 dissent letter against the decision of the Supreme Court. This guy is a super mega O-level mega goddamn with the Phoenix Force level Coonarian. This shit is comical. This dude is hitting the fourth wall, all right, of Coonarianism. He knows he's a character in this show. All right, that's how far I don't think there's ever been a coon in history, right, that's ever out-cooned this coon. Ever. In life. It's just insane.
Only three things are certain in life: taxes, death, and when given the opportunity, Clarence Thomas will tippity tap 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 for the white people whose pockets he sits in. He's a coon. This man wrote a 91-page dissent against the court's decision today to uphold the 14th Amendment to the United States. This was one of the Reconstruction Amendments. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were Reconstruction Amendments that were ratified after the Civil War to give freed Black Americans, the formerly enslaved, voting rights, citizenship, and formally abolish slavery. And Clarence Thomas today decided to pick up a pen and say, you know what? We don't really need that. It's fine. One of Clarence Thomas's main claims is that birthright citizenship and today's Supreme Court decision devalues citizenship for Americans, for other Americans, as if the United States wasn't doing a great job of that on its own. First of all, at devaluing U.S. citizenship. That's funny. He also said that he's not sure that today's opinion is going to stand the test of time. Mind you, this is a 95-year precedent. This is almost 100 years old in terms of legal precedent. It has stood the test of time. Favorite parts of the whole decision is that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson called Clarence Thomas out by his name in her response, in her opinion, and addressed him directly in some of the paragraphs, and I'm going to read them to you. Justice Jackson said, with Justice Sotomayor joining in her opinion in part, despite his long-standing endorsement of a colorblind constitution, Justice Thomas now surprisingly suggests that the Citizenship Clause was a race-conscious remedial measure, relating only to freed slaves such as Dred Scott and those who shared with them certain characteristics. For not having a homeland, calling America home. It is for this reason, he says, that children who were born in the United States to parents not domiciled here are not entitled to claim birthright citizenship. But that narrow vision of the 14th Amendment bears little relationship to the history of its ratification. Even worse, Justice Thomas tellingly elides the entire point of the second founding. The Reconstruction Amendments were an anti-caste, anti-subordination reset for the nation, not a mere spot treatment for the dark stain of slavery. So her argument is essentially that the Reconstruction Amendments weren't just for the benefit of Black Americans. They were meant to be a sort of legal reset to the entire system in the United States that devalued certain lives and that created this social political hierarchy according to your caste of birth, whether you were born a free person or a non-free person, Black or white, slave or non-slave. And so his argument that it only applies to Black Americans, that this doesn't really apply in any other case, specifically to individuals who are born to undocumented parents, kind of comes up against this question of, were these amendments just for one group, or were they serving the greater purposes of addressing the shortcomings of the original amendments and of the entire system that was the United States? And so Justice Jackson is essentially saying, sure, you're bringing up this history and you're trying to contextualize this amendment within its time period, but you need to recognize that the Constitution and amendments that are passed are not just relevant to the time in which they were passed or to the individual groups that they were originally passed for. We need to think broader than that. So this is going to be really important to keep in mind, to keep an eye on, especially, as I said in an earlier video, just because the Supreme Court voted to refute Trump's banning of birthright citizenship, it doesn't mean that this fight is over, especially since they kind of left the door open for birthright citizenship to be attacked via other venues, specifically Congress. So this is going to be something that is going to continue to be a conversation. And I think as we continue to go through this and debate this, people are going to be coming back to this historical context and saying, okay, well, let's think about this in context and what this actually does in this moment in the United States in which these amendments are ratified, but also more broadly to this very hierarchical race-based caste system that we have in this country.